Hello and welcome to this video. My name is David Thorne. In this Swift programming language video, we're going to talk all about how to mutate an immutable struct. Now this is not clickbait. This is I'm actually going to show you how to do this, and it actually works without any hacking or anything like that. Okay, so right now, as you can see here, we have a struct view. We'll have a look at that in just a second. It has a value property, and when we try and assign it to a new value, it says cannot assign to property view is a let constant. And yes, view is a let constant. And when we want to print body out, we want to print body out. So let's have a look what we've got inside of the view here. We have a value property, and obviously we can mutate the value property because it is a var and it is public, so we can do that. Initializer has initializer, and the body property just basically returns then the value property itself. Nothing complicated. So the question is now, how can we keep this code exactly how it is, but make this compile time error go, all right, and not changing this code? So let's come into the view, and it is possible, all right. Let's come into the view, and what we're going to do instead is there's a couple of stages to this to show you how we're going to get there. And we're going to create another variable and say value is equal to string here, and we're going to generate that as an empty string in the beginning. And then we're going to come to value. Rather than it just being a stored property, we're going to make it to be a computed property, and this is then just going to return then, whoops, not that, going to return then the underscore value. And then when we come to the setter as well, we're going to say the underscore value is equal to new value. So when we come back here, you can still see that that doesn't change anything right now. All we now do is we're adding even more complexity to this, and we need to say underscore value is equal to value here instead. So how can we now get rid of this one compile time error here and move that error now to this side instead? Well, if you've seen the previous video where we talked about observable properties, you'll know what I did, all right? And it's going to be then non-mutating here, and we're going to say that this setter is non-mutating. So now when we come back to this file, the main file, you can see it's now happy with this code, even though this view is a immutable property. It's a let property here, but it allows this value to be changed. But with inside now of this file, it says, hey, cannot assign property, self is immutable, which is correct. All right, so now what we can say is we don't need underscore value anymore. So let's just get rid of underscore value, and let's get rid of that here. We don't need that anymore, okay? So what we are going to do is we are going to use Swift, and we're going to say file private, which means that only this one view.swift file can access this information here. And we're going to say here that it's var, and it's just going to be view values, okay? And this is going to be a dictionary of string and then string, and it's going to be an empty dictionary in the beginning, all right? And inside of here, we are going to, so we want view values. Inside of this getter, we're going to say view values here. And this is then going to be the ID, and if it's not found, we're going to return an empty string. However, we know it's going to be there because we're going to say value and ID is equal to value. Obviously, that means that we need an ID property now. So let's just create an ID property here. And now we need to instantiate that ID property as well. And just by saying UUID string here, so now we know guaranteed that this view values ID is going to be there, all right? So set, we can now say view values here with the ID is equal to the new value. And we compile this, build succeeded, we're happy, it's all working. And when we run this, you can see that it prints out 2. Happy days. And when we come here, and we can then turn around and say 1, so let's just print this again, or 1, and we can see we get 2 and 1 by no surprise. But you might have been surprised that you could actually do this non-mutating set, which is basically saying to the Swift compiler, hey, I might be updating a value, but I'm not mutating this one struct, okay? I'm not changing the value of what this struct is. it might have different, it might return different stuff, but I'm not changing it in memory. And that's exactly what we're doing. We are updating these view values as well. Now, we all know that if we want to change, if we want to copy this one view, we all know that its views are value types. So when we do an assignment like this, it's making a full copy in memory. Okay, and this is the point to remember here: is that when we copy this view, none of this code is getting executed. None of this getter is getting executed. None of this code. It's just taking the memory location of this one view, and it's completely copying it in memory directly to this view one. All right, so we're not getting any programmatic help when this copy happens, which means that whenever we print out now view one, and we do this again, and we print out view one, and we do this again, think what's going to happen right here. Okay, we set view.value, so in the initial view to 2 here, and then we set it once again to 1, and we're printing out both here. This is a full copy over to here. Are they going to print out the same thing? So let's run this now. And there we see 2, 2, 1, 1. Why is this? Well, it's because we've used the ID, and this ID got copied in memory as well. So both of those views, even though they are two completely separate places in memory, they are both returning exactly the same thing. This ID, they have the same ID property. So now we can now try and make a immutable value type, all right, into a immutable value type that can be passed around by reference. Okay, and if we want to change this, let's just say the ID string is then going to come here, and we're going to extract this UUID string to the initializer, and then just say self.id is here, and that is equal to ID. We run this once again. So now when we want to make a new view, right, we can say view 2, and we can say we can create the view 2 here as well, and we say view 1 dot value, all right, and now we can create a different UUID string here, and when we now print out view 2 here, and let's update view 2 dot value to say view 2 instead. All right, and now let's just put this down at the bottom just to show you what we get now. Right, we get 2 2, which is what we had before, and we get view 2, and we get 1 1, and we get view 2, because even though this view has now another UUID, all right, so it's obviously not accessing the same thing. So we know one, that within inside this view we cannot change this ID. However, we can generate a new view with the same value, just as long as we change the ID. All right. So this shows you that. But as you can see, when we make a full copy of the view to view 1 here, this is a full copy. However, it's still referencing the same information. So when we come to view 1 dot value, and it's a copy to here, all right, and we come down to here once again, and we say copy 1, and we run this once again. You can now see copy 2, view 2, copy 1, view 2. It's because they, even though they are complete copies, they are accessing, and I'll repeat it once again, the same place in memory because they both have the same ID. Now, how is this useful, and why would you want to do this? And is Swift doing this already? Well, actually, yes, it is. Right, let's just make an integer or whatever, and let's come and have a look at this Swift UI property wrapper, which we haven't talked about yet. However, look, public struct state, right, that they are a struct, and when we scroll down to see the body here, or the wrap value, sorry, we can see get, and we see non-mutating set. So the Swift UI state, which is a property wrapper, is also using this non-mutating state. So it means that even when you update the value, the wrapped value of state, right? It means it's doing something different in the background. And from what my first research tells me is that the information from each view or state property wrapper, should we just say state property wrapper, sorry, is actually being passed to the environment and saved there. And then every single time the views is being created once again, that state is being recreated because it's a struct every single time. And so, but I'm not 100% about the intricate details of it. But I know that in the background, Swift UI is saving that state and it's reinitializing it every single time when that view gets called. But this is not a Swift UI video at all. But what it is, though, is to indicate to you how this non-mutating set works and how, obviously, with access control, we can try and have some form of immutable states based upon the file itself. And we can pass around value types as complete copies, but all referencing exactly the same thing. So it doesn't matter. You can make as many copies as you want, but you'll always reference the same thing and you'll always update the same thing as well. And so I just thought this would be an interesting thing to look at. And, you know, I always find it's more important, like when you go to wash your hands, the water comes out the tap and you don't really care where the water comes from. It just comes out the tap. You know you can wash your hands. And that's very declarative. All right, that is exactly like Swift UI. You're not supposed to care about the workings in the background, but if you look underneath the kitchen sink, you'll see the plumbing. You'll see where all the pipes go into the wall and so on. But if you follow that all the way down to wherever that water comes from, and the filtration system to it, and the pressure behind it, wherever gravity is being used to increase the pressure, and so on, or is that water being filled from the rain and stuff like that? How all of these different workings, you then have a better understanding about how your water's being heated and what's the pressure and how you can increase this and how you can increase that. No, but if you're just interested in washing your hands or filling up the kettle to make a cup of coffee or something like that, or just to cook some food, that's all well and good, you can. But I'm a firm believer in looking inside of the plumbing and looking exactly how things work and why they work, because it gives me a far better understanding about what's going on in the background with the code. And it helps me to debug better because I have a full understanding of the Swift programming language. And property wrappers, when I say property wrapper, this is part of the Swift programming language. Okay, the state properties and so on, that's part of Swift UI, but they are nothing more than property wrappers being used. Okay, they are implementations of property wrappers. But in order to fully understand property wrappers, in my opinion, it's better to understand structs and also property observers, and also understand non-mutating set and how it works, and how you can utilize the likes of file private properties here that will be running in the runtime. Now, you could obviously save this to disk as well, or to a database or whatever, and initialize it when the application is initialized. But that's not what this video is about. With that said, this highlights also how fantastic the Swift UI, how fantastic Swift UI is about keeping as much of the properties structs as possible, and try not to use classes. It's always trying to find another way of using the most lightweight, efficient data structures as possible. All right. With that said, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and do all the other social media things that are out there. This video is more, like I said, of looking into the fine details of how things are going right now. So I wouldn't suggest that you use this type of thing in production code, but it's just here for you to better understand how these things are working. And it makes you a better Swift developer or programmer to understand the intricate details of some things. If you've got any questions, feedback, or concerns, as always, feel free to put any questions or anything like that in the comment section down below, and let's start a conversation about this topic. What did you think about it? With that said, I do all of these videos for you. It's all about giving other people my knowledge and giving people my perception about how to do these things. Don't forget to pass your knowledge on to other people as well, because that's the whole point of mastering a topic, is being able to teach other people as well, and for them to understand it. Thank you very much for watching. My name's David Thorne, and see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, and goodbye.